I'm starting off with the study plans, and basically for the first one I am going to write the days vertically and the number of hours horizontally. So these could be like planning your studying or tracking your studying, and they're very useful. You could do weekly ones or monthly ones. I'm just doing weekly ones, but clearly if you were just doing a monthly one, you'd add more days. So I am just writing out the numbers, and pause over in this box I'm about to make. I am going to write down all the subjects I want to track, and then I'm going to put them with a certain color, and I suggest that you just keep with that color coordination for the entire year so you don't get confused or forget. So yeah. So I'm just grabbing my mild liners and giving them a color. Okay, back to the study tracker. Basically what you do is just make a line from on the day until the number of hours. It's really hard to explain, but it's better if you just look at it visually. You can tell, like, I make the little line segment however long it goes to the hour, and then you could add multiple subjects per day so they're color coordinated by their subject. So I don't know if you guys understood any of that. I know it's kind of confusing, but hopefully by just looking at it you can tell. So this one is a little different. I am putting the days horizontally this time and the number of hours vertically from 1 to 10 up. So 1 is going to be at the bottom. I actually decided to add a 0 later just because I thought it could be useful if you don't study at all that day. And what you do is just make a dot for every day at whatever amount of hours you did, and at the end of the week you just connect all the lines and you just do one subject. So right now I'm doing science, and I am about to do social studies, and you just do that to all the subjects, and you can look back at it on the week and see what you want to improve on. Okay, so we are about to move on to the next tracker, and what I'm basically going to do is make one large box, and this is kind of random. It's more like a goal of how many hours instead of separating by how many hours per subject. It's just how many hours per every subject in the week. It got cut off, but you could tell that I just filled in those boxes, and some days I did multiple if there's more in the subject. Anyways, moving on to the next one. This one's vertical and separated, and it's basically the same concept, filling in boxes, and that's about all there is to it. I cannot speak today, I'm sorry. This one is also similar. These boxes are vertical, and I'm only making however many boxes of hours my goal is to study per that week. And then I am writing the little subject underneath. And once again, I will be making those boxes and filling them in as I go. So it would go lowest number to highest number, so lowest on the bottom and highest on the top. So 1 to 4 or 1 to 6 or 1 to 3, whatever amount of hours you want to do. And you'll see me at the top writing little things, which are going to be like prizes. So once you reach the amount of hours and you finish all of your hourly goals, you get that prize at the top. I just made up some random things, but whatever is going to motivate you to keep on studying and achieve that goal. So yeah. So you'll see on the yellow, not the yellow, on the orange one, I kind of circled Mildliners because once you reach that goal, it's letting you know, hey, you get to have this now. So yeah, now I am going to be moving on to schedules. So the first schedule was basically just a box. So I drew the I drew the box clearly, and I wrote the days of the week on the top horizontally. So Monday through Sunday, you could do Sunday through Saturday, however you want to lay it out, but I just prefer this. And then on the left side, I wrote the times of the day. You can make it longer or shorter, whatever's like your busiest time of the day. Clearly I didn't need to do like 6 a.m. or 12 midnight because I probably wasn't doing anything during that time. I just did 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. because those are usually my busiest times for classes and such, and I just started filling in my schedule. This also isn't my real schedule, I just made something up. I'm actually not sure what my schedule is for next year yet because I don't really learn that until the first day of school, which I know is kind of annoying, but I'm just making something up. So this is more useful if you're like a college student or go to a school with block schedule because your classes are different every day. I personally wouldn't use this because my classes are the same every single day, so I don't need this, but if you do, it could be very useful, and it looks pretty cute at the end. I also went in and gave them their colors for the subjects, and yeah. So the next schedule I'm about to do is actually a vertical one instead of, well, horizontal, I guess, like the other one, which was by time. This one's not really by time, but I wrote the days of the week down vertically, and what I did was just made a line. If it was at the beginning of the day, I did it at the top of the box, and if it's at the end of the day, I did it at the bottom, and I just wrote down whatever class or event and wrote down the time. I also decided to make it school and sports. You could divide them if you want, you don't need to, but I just wanted to do that, so yeah. You could also divide it by school and personal, or work and school, or whatever works for you. So now I'm moving on to systems. You'll see what I mean by that in just a second. So the first system I'm making, I call goals and gifts. You can make it whatever you want, goals and incentives, or whatever you want to name it. And basically, I just write down my big goals, like huge projects, or like my mile time, something that's larger than like finish your homework for the day. So something that actually takes a lot of effort and you'll be proud of at the end of the day. And what I did was write down a few gifts I would like to gift myself, and then I just matched up the goals and the gift. So whichever I thought would go with each other. Like for my English project, I gifted it with a dessert for a 750 50 mile, I go to Mileliners, and to get an A in math, which is probably the longest and largest goal, I did the Stabilo .88 pens, because that's a larger and more expensive pack. My next system is a study plan, so you could adjust this however you need to, but I would just basically write the chapter and what I needed to do for that chapter, and then I would go back and I would color coordinate it so I know if it's chapter 1 in science or chapter 1 in math, and yeah. So the next thing I am going to be doing is kind of an assignment tracker. It not only tracks your assignment, but also your grade for the assignment and checking if you finished that assignment. So I wrote the assignment, the class, the due date, whether it was done or not, and then the grade. And I'll just make a quick example, also something I made up. And then I would go back and color coordinate it. You don't exactly have to if you don't want to, because you're writing which class it is in, but if you need to, then go ahead and do it. Okay, so the last thing I'm doing is a grade tracker. So I have trimesters at the moment. When I move on to my next goal, I will have semesters instead of trimesters, but right now I have trimesters, so I have 3 different parts of the school year, so I divide my grades by trimesters. So I have trimester 1 grades, trimester 2 grades, trimester 3 grades. If you have semesters, you could do semester 1, semester 2, and I don't know, some schools divide by 4 parts. If you do that, you could also do that. I don't know what that's called. But I just wrote down my grades, and it's simple as that. You can look back and see what your grade is. So that's it for this video.